Good morning, and thanks for making ekaboom.tv part of your morning routine.
I'm Ruben, and this is Joan Romero, and today we're going to talk about the Millionaire Mind.
So let's get down to business. The book, The Millionaire Mind.
Yeah, it's a great book. It came out actually 15 or so years ago. It's written by Thomas J. Stanley, and I don't think we actually read the whole book, and I think we actually had an audio version of part of it for, I don't know if it was the Millionaire Mind or it was also the Millionaire Next Door. I guess Millionaire Next Door was his first book, and that was, I think, the one we actually started listening to. And, we talked earlier this week about ideas and seeing the invisible, and I think this is another great example of seeing the invisible, because one of the things that the researchers of the book, when they first started, they were thinking, okay, we're going to get these people together, we're going to try to understand the people who are successful and rich, and so they had this party or this spread of food and had caviar and wine and stuff like that. And one of the guys came in and was like, hey, would you like some wine or something? He's like, I just drink beer, and they're pulling into nice cars but old cars. They're not driving in Lexuses and all these other things. But it left a huge impression on us that the Millionaire Next Door doesn't have to be the showy, have the great big nice grand house, that they could just be inconspicuous, normal people, invisible to
blend in.
the naked eye. My eyes are always naked, well, unless you count glasses, but my glasses are clear. So, yeah, I think some of the things that they discovered were that there are certain traits that the millionaire next door has. These people who have high net wealth, and they also make a distinction between people who have necessarily money, but yet and have these nice big houses and extravagance. They look rich, but they're living paycheck to paycheck, and he's not including those kinds of people as the Millionaire Mind or the Millionaire Next Door. Only people who really actually have built wealth that is not just a facade. And if they stopped getting a paycheck, that they'd be okay, basically. But there are 7 specific things that they had. Did you want to add something before we go over this?
I was going to jump into the first one, actually.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I think the first one goes right along with some of the other shows that we've done where they live well beneath their means. And so we did an episode on living frugally, and that frugally doesn't mean that you're poor and you can't afford things, but it's just that you're not spending money unnecessarily. And 2 things just popped into my head. We were watching a show called Extreme Cheapskates, and one guy said, I don't know of any other millionaire who goes dumpster diving. And she's like, look at this vacuum I found, or she was all excited about something she found for free.
I'm not recommending you go to that extreme. They find the most extreme people to put on these shows, but I think though it is important to live below your means so that you have money, that you have things set aside, that if things turn sour, you stop getting a paycheck, that you can get through it, basically. So it's important to be frugal, so that you have money available. The second one is they allocate their time, energy, and money efficiently, in a way that's conducive to building wealth. So we won't go into too much detail of these, but they're being smart about how they use their money. They're being smart about how they use their time. They're being smart about how they use their energy, and do it in a way that's going to help them build their wealth.
Right. So they're focused on what they want to do, and they're using all their resources, efficiently and effectively to get them where they want to go.
Right. Number 3.
They believe that financial independence is more important than displaying high social status.
Yes. We love that. We love that. You know, we you know, I've never been a brand person. I've never been that person who was like, oh, I have to have Nike shoes.
Yeah, in elementary school, middle school, high school.
I think as far as it got, and I'm a little embarrassed to even bring this up, is that in my school, in middle school, everyone had, you know, started wearing jams, right? Which were the long shorts. Oh, yeah. Long, for those of you who remember jams, right? And, you know, I starting to feel a little embarrassed because I think I was like one of the last few kids and that had
you finally got a pair
shorts that weren't jams, that weren't like down to your knees. And
you
so
wear short shorts.
I don't know, but maybe. But I just remember I didn't have any jams, and I think actually my mom made me some.
Yeah,
I think my mom.
Jams.
Yeah. I mean, they were actually nicer than the other ones because the things that other people were wearing had like Hawaiian designs on them. Mine were just solid colors, which I actually like better. But you know, I was never into. I mean, but I did start to feel a little bit weird because everyone was more of like the style, but it was never about a name brand. I mean, my mom made them for me or something, or she took pants and cut them off. I don't know. But
she's amazing.
She did stuff. She did something where these were not just regular store-bought shorts. I think she made them. And
so it wasn't important to you.
Yeah, no, it wasn't important for me to have a label or a brand or anything on them. I didn't care about that.
I wasn't into labels either. But the thing that I found really great about that, in my high school, we had a small high school. And so at some point you were interacting with all sorts of different groups. It was hard to have a clique because there were only so many cheerleaders, and the cheerleaders would have to work with, you know, I don't know, the nerds on something else. So anyway, by not labeling yourself, it was easier to float among all the different, because I love people. And so being able to relate to everyone, it was a little more incognito.
Yeah.
I figured.
Social status, not important. Not important to us. Number 4 is their parents didn't provide economic outpatient care. So their parents didn't support them or get them through whatever, or, you know,
they're not making
pay their bills.
Payment.
So, and you know, I think that's important. We don't want our kids to, you know, feel like, hey, mom and dad will take care of me. We've got plenty of money. You know, we want them to be able to develop some of these skills on their own, to, you know, get a job that's going to pay. We want them to be self-sufficient. We don't want them to be dependent on us. And probably, you know, if we did leave money to them, it would be in their later years in life, not when they
and I think that's
become
mentioned in the book. I think they say sometime after 40.
Right.
Like, because once you're 40, you've established your standard of living.
Right.
Your level of expectations.
If you start with a high standard of living and
the money runs out, then you're like, looking for the next handout.
Right.
But that kind of goes along with the next one, which is their adult children are economically self-sufficient.
Right.
So your parents aren't supporting you, and you're not supporting your adult children.
Right. And I think that's good. I think that's important. They're also proficient in targeting market opportunities. So they see an opportunity and they're able to jump on it. We've talked about that a little bit. By the time an opportunity, you see the opportunity, it's, for most people, it's gone. You have to see it coming. You have to see it coming from a very far distance, really, to be able to be ready for really good opportunities. And those who had the Millionaire Mind, they are proficient in targeting market opportunities.
And part of that seeing the invisible is also choosing. Number 7, they chose the right occupation.
Yeah, one of our favorite stories from the book was, so they're sitting around with all of these millionaires, and
they're decamillionaires. They're making 10 million or more.
And this one guy starts talking, and I'm probably going to get part of the story wrong. But he starts talking and saying how, I was a salesperson, I sold copiers, and I was horrible, and I got fired, or I left, or the business went out. And, he's telling all these stories about how he failed and failed, failing up, right?
To the point where the guy's like, is he in the right room?
Did we invite the right person? But what happened was, then he said, but I he struggled because he was always trying to overthink his sales. He was very strategic. He wasn't, like just out there making sales as fast as possible. He was trying to think about it and plan it and all these things. So what he discovered eventually was that he was really good at putting together deals that were multi-million-dollar deals. And so when he put those together, he had to take the time. He had to be strategic, and he still had to use his skills as a salesperson, but in a way that was different than he had done previously. So we love that because we really believe that people should do things that we love. We want our, the staff, our people that work with us, we want them to love what they do. We want them to, enjoy it. We don't want them to feel like, oh, I've got to do this work and I've got to do this other thing. We want them to feel excited about it.
And in a way that works well for them. Working with their mode of operation, not against it.
And their skills, their skill set. Like we want an editor that just likes to edit. They just find enjoyment out of correcting things and...
Or can't help themselves.
Can't help themselves.
That bugs me. Let me fix that.
Right, exactly.
We don't want an editor who just glosses over and then someone else reads it and they're like, ugh.
What happened?
Why does that look like that?
Right.
We want someone who would say, ugh, let me fix that. Whew.
Done.
Yeah.
Right. So we love people that can, love what they do. So we think it's important. It's important to find the right occupation. It's important to find what you do really well and to do that, and not be like, oh, well, but I really should develop these skills selling copiers. Maybe not. Maybe that's not your thing. Maybe your thing is different. Maybe it's selling bigger deals. Maybe you're trying to sell big deals and you're failing, and you should be selling copiers and you'll make a lot of money. But you really have to find what is the right occupation. What's the right place? If you're a business owner, what's the right place in your business for you?
So if you want to be a millionaire, decamillionaire, if you want to have these traits, we highly recommend picking up The Millionaire Mind.
Or The Millionaire Next Door, which is the first one.
That's one I liked.
Right. They're great books. I think we did read them, but it was actually...
It was a long time ago.
It's a long time ago. But we still refer to them. We still talk about them. So, it's that good.
Left an impression.
That, over a decade later, it's still relevant to us.
So if you read it, if you liked it, or if there's another book that you would recommend, please leave it in the comments below. And thank you for subscribing and liking and sharing.
Have a great day.